Accessing library computer data.
Hello and welcome to my review/overview of the USS Reliant, which is part of the Wave 0 release at the beginning of the game in August of 2013 and then repainted and re-released as part of the Wave 30 ships in May of 2017. I think at this point, if you do not already have the ship, you're mostly picking it up for thematic reasons, as other than the occasional con and the Reliant specific circumstances, and then obviously Paddletrack, there are not really any cards here that I've seen competitive play, but let's take a look at what comes in the pack. So what comes in the pack? You get a Miranda-class model and maneuver dial, along with a USS Reliant / Miranda-class ship template. The paint job on the original Reliant is similar to early Federation ships. It has that kind of blue-gray color with some lighter blue highlights on the nacelles and the roll bar, some red on the nacelles and on the impulse engines, along with dark blue and yellow highlights on the saucer section. It also has the Starfleet livery on the nacelle supports. The repaint in Wave 30 is mostly the same. It just replaces the blue-gray with the metallic silver that they use for all the Federation ships now. There are 2 Noonien Singh ID tokens, 2 Kirk Tyrell ID tokens, and 2 Federation Captain ID tokens. There's also an auxiliary power token, a battle station token, a critical hit token, a disable token, evade token, a scan token, 3 shield tokens, target lock K tokens, and the mission Nimutara Nebula. So let's take a look at the upgrades. The first card in the pack is obviously the named ship, the USS Reliant, which is a Miranda-class ship with 2 attack, 2 agility, 3 hull, 3 shields, with a standard action bar of evade, target lock, scan, and battle stations, a 180-degree primary fire arc with a 90-degree secondary fire arc, 1 weapon slot and 2 crew slots for 20 points. You gain +1 attack die when firing at range 1. I've seen a couple of builds with the Reliant that really take advantage of being at range 1 of your opponent, such as the Drive OP, where I actually had my ship destroyed fairly fast when combined with Admiral Decker, as they were able to stay behind me and just kind of keep shooting at me. But for more standard games, I have not seen this ship being played. It does not have the native tech slot, with only 2 attack, without Type 8 or upgraded phasers, and only 6 durability makes it a fairly weak ship even in an era game. Despite a decent ability to gain an attack die at range 1 for 4 dice, so I cannot say that I can recommend using this ship in most instances, but again, you're going to want the ship just so you can recreate the Rathacon movie, so it's probably worth it just for that. The generic Miranda class loses a shield, the ability, and a crew slot for 18 points. The generic Miranda is not very good, with only the 5 durability and 2 attack die. Maybe it becomes somewhat playable with the release of the Federation Faction Pack, whenever that will be, and it'll be recosted, so it can be ran as a swarm ship at maybe, like 13, 12 points, something like that. But right now, I cannot see a reason to run the generic Miranda right now, as you have a generic Burrell at 13 points, which is an infinitely better ship at this point. So the Miranda class is very maneuverable, with the only red maneuver being a 2 reverse. Otherwise, it has white turns at both speed 2 and 3, and a 4 straight that is also white. The first captain is Noonien Singh, who is unique, independent, is a skill-A captain with an elite talent slot and costs 5 points. You may use any upgrades without paying a faction penalty. During an attack, if you spend a battle station token, each of your battle station results becomes a critical instead of a hit. I really like Con when combined with weapon upgrades that bypass your opponent's shields, like hypothermic charge, or with missile launchers, so you can get those criticals onto the hull to really maximize the effects of those weapons. Plus, you can use other factions upgrades on the same ship without paying the additional points normally required for cross-factioning. I still think he is at least a good captain with the right build to take advantage of those critical conversions, and being able to equip upgrades without paying the extra point or 2 is really nice. But I do still occasionally see him and have run him myself a couple times. The second captain is Clark Tyrell, who is unique, is a skill 2 captain, and costs 1 point. Any friendly ship within range 1 of your ship gains +1 defense die. I think Tyrell is a decent low-cost captain that works well as a support captain in a fleet that wants to stick together in a close formation, such as cross-faction on a Gemidar bug build, or as the captain of a capital ship surrounded by fighters, or really any other fleet design that you can think of that you need to keep your ships close together to activate abilities and stuff. Certainly not someone that you're going to want or need to run every time, but I still think he can be useful, if not great, captain in some fleets, as he boosts the defense die of all ships within range 1 without the need of an action or disable, which is always really nice. The last captain, of course, is your generic Federation captain, who is actually Commander Beach from the USS Reliant, but I guess he wasn't special enough to get his own named and unique card, so he's a generic captain. The first elite talent is Superior Intellect, which costs 5 points, and is independent. Action: discard this card and target a ship at range 1 to 2 that is not cloaked and has no active shields. Steal 1 face-up upgrade card of your choice from that ship, even if the upgrade exceeds your ship's restrictions. While a thematic card in terms of what actually happens in the Rathacon movie, when Khan steals the Genesis device from the Enterprise, this card is just not playable nowadays, as with most of the 5-point discards that seem to be a common part of the early game. I don't mind the restriction of the range, and that has no shields, since you can steal any card on your opponent. But as an action discard, it just makes it really hard to use in most circumstances. Maybe if it was only a discard, then I'd consider using it, but as it stands, I cannot see it being run in today's game. And I've never seen it myself either. The second and last elite talent is I Stab at Thee, which costs 3 points and is also independent. If your ship was just destroyed, roll 3 attack dice and inflict the resulting damage on all ships within range 1 of your ship. These ships do not roll defense dice against the ship. This is certainly not a competitive card, but certainly something that can be a lot of fun on a suicide ship combined with Ramming Attack and Mirror Tasha Yar for maximum carnage and fun. As you'd be rolling 6 dice with Ramming Attack and then another 3 with I Stab at Thee, an additional 4 with Mirror Yar. Even no quality on those dice, you're probably going to do some damage with the sheer number of dice you would be rolling against your opponents. And with all of these, they either do not roll defense dice or the number of defense dice they can use are reduced. So probably not a competitive card again, but one that can be certainly a lot of fun. The only weapon in the pack is a copy of Photon Torpedoes, which are Federation and cost 3 points with an attack value of 4. Attack. Target lock. Spend your target lock and disable this card to perform this attack. You may convert one of your battle station results into a critical result. You may fire this weapon from your forward or rear firing arcs. Another copy of Photon Torpedoes that are not very good, but it's probably a little better on the Reliant than the U.S. Enterprise, as it effectively doubles your attack at range 2 to 3, in addition to getting the range bonus and the ship ability at range 1. Again, probably a little better on this ship than the Enterprise, but I still don't see much reason to run them. The first crew in the pack is Joaquim, who is independent, unique, and costs 4 points. Each time you inflict a critical hit on an enemy ship's hull, you may draw 2 damage cards instead of 1, and choose which one to place beside the enemy's ship card. Discard the unused damage card. An okay crew upgrade when combined with someone like Khan, Ahab, Picard, or someone else that guarantees that critical hit to make sure that you can choose which critical they take. But without that guarantee, and even with it, I think he is probably too expensive to use in most circumstances for a fairly niche ability. The second crew in the pack is Paddletrack, whose unique Federation crew and costs 3 points. Your ship can remove 1 auxiliary power token after performing a white maneuver. This is an outstanding card, especially in a couple of builds that I'm quite fond of and run quite often. I usually put on either the original Voyager, so that you can use the 360 fire and clear the aux with any maneuver the following turn, as Voyager only has white and green maneuvers, or on the USS Enterprise E, so you can use the 2017 starter Photon Torpedoes without needing a target lock, and then again clear the aux for most of the maneuvers that it has. A really good card that I think is still very viable in competitive play today, and maybe worth getting the pack just for this card, as it's probably the best card in the pack in my opinion. The next crew is Kala, who is unique and Federation and costs 2 points. Action: if you performed a green maneuver this round, repair 1 shield token and reduce your total attack dice by 2 this round. I would say that you'd only ever want to use this ability if you're not able to fight your opponent, as if you use this on Reliant and you were at range 2 or 3 to get 0 attack dice. There are better repair cards out there now, especially with the restrictions that it has, with it being an action. You have to have done a green maneuver and it reduce your attack dice. It's just way too much to pay for a simple shield repair. Dorian Collins is a better 2-point Federation crew for shield repair, as she only requires you to disable her. Or Kenneth Dalby for an independent, as it allows you at least the choice of a shield or a hull. Plus you don't have the, again, reduction in attack dice or the maneuver restriction to actually do it. The last crew and card in the pack is Follower of Khan, who is a non-unique independent and costs 1 point. Action: if your ship is not cloaked, disable all your remaining shields on targeted ship at range 1 and 2 that is not cloaked and has no active shields. Discard this card in 1 crew upgrade of your ship on the target ship. Until I went back, I didn't actually realize how many of these kind of abilities there are, as it's the same ability as Bakra and Clag from the 2013 starter, and my thoughts are essentially the same. Probably more useful at this point is a crew to discard to activate another ability, as they're only 1 point, rather than spend an action with those restrictions to actually use it. Although I did recently play the Mutara Nebula scenario, it was actually useful to be able to discard my opponent's Sulu, as in the Mutara Nebula no one has any shields, so it was actually a decent card there. So maybe in certain scenarios they're useful, but in most games you're just going to use them as fodder for another ability. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch my review/overview of the USS Reliant from the Wave 0 and Wave 30 expansions. Other than Khan, Chekhov, and the Reliant in specific situations, most of this pack I've never seen in competitive play. But I do think it's worth picking up pretty much just for Chekhov in my opinion, and to be able to reenact the final battle in Wrath of Khan with the Mutara Nebula scenario with the authentic ships, even though the refit Constitution wasn't released until Wave 6. Also, you can do a custom game of one of the massive battles in DS9 when you need some cannon fodder ships to really keep it authentic, as they sure seem to like to blow up quite easily. To keep up to date with the reviews of the expansions from the beginning of the game and new releases as well, subscribe to the Eric channel and click on the notification bell to make sure you do not miss a video. And be sure to hit the like button if you learned something or you enjoy the video. You can find me on Facebook at the Eric channel, where I post mostly Star Trek Attack Wing related content and custom cards that I've created. Be sure to let me know in the comments if you have any fun builds using any of these cards or if you disagree with me on one. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.